You know that officer's lying.
The girl was in the car with a child and his ID. 24 independent people have all found you guilty. 25 convictions over the last 25 years.
I'm done. Give me the max. I don't care. You're all in on it, every one of you, Judge. You're full of crap. Eat shit.
Mr. Demambro was doing well in this hearing until he opened his mouth. From there, it all went downhill. This guy was trying to get away from the police while he had a lady and her infant child in the car. He happened to cross over county lines while doing it, so he got charged with felonies and convicted by juries in both counties. This is his sentencing on the second of 2 guilty verdicts. Mr. Demambro clearly has some issues, but his biggest one today, and possibly for the next 10 years, is going to be his flipping out, telling Judge Elmore to eat shit, and demanding the max. Let's roll, nerds.
Mr. Demambro joins us today via Zoom from a Department of Corrections facility. Mr. Demambro, are you able to see and hear the court this morning, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Thank you. We are here today for a sentencing in this case involving a conviction of 2 charges. The conviction stemmed from a jury trial that occurred back on August 26th of this year. Mr. Harrison, any amendments, questions, or objections to make to the content of the pre-sentence investigation report?
There are none, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We'll note that Mr. Demambro is currently in jail because he had a parole violation. Is that right, Mr. Harrison?
I was unaware of that. He was convicted in Lake County.
Oh, okay. Was it another? Yeah.
July 1st.
Thank you. I'm sorry. That's correct. So that's why the pretrial credit only ran from February 20th.
Right. July 1st.
Excuse me. Thank you. Mr. Harrison, I'm going to begin by allowing you allocution.
The reason I hesitated when you asked me about were there any proposed changes is that, frankly, I wish there were, because it is difficult to look at a PSI where the guy has seemingly what I would describe as somewhat normal levels. I mean, his PRVs are 85, which is beyond the 75 max. But then you look down at the OV score, it's only 15 points. Unfortunately, the primary driver of his score in this situation is his prior record. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around the fact that that is the case. Then I look at his MDOC status, and it does indicate that his sentence was 2 to 10, so 24 months to 120 months in Lake County with a potential ERD of 218 and 27. I think that the eye that we have, and I think the overall tone of the PSI in this case, is that we try to butt end those. In other words, we try to achieve a concurrent sentence that has relatively the same circumstances as the current matter for which he's serving his sentence. And that, again, presents an interesting conundrum to the court due to the increased guidelines. In this case, due to the conviction for a C-grade felony in Lake County, which gave him another 25 points on his PRVs and really threw a monkey wrench in the whole works. It's no secret, it was no secret, that this is a continuation of the Lake County case for which he stands convicted in Webster County. So in a manner of speaking, I guess what I'm asking the court to consider doing is undercutting the guidelines here based on those 2, what I believe to be extenuating circumstances here. First and foremost, that the Lake County sentence arises out of the same transaction or occurrence as the case in Webster County, mere geographical accident that he was subject to trial in 2 different locations for essentially the same act, if you will. I know I'm oversimplifying, and I don't want to inflame anybody about jurisdiction and all that kind of basic tenets of criminal jurisprudence. But it's important to me that I emphasize, at least for the record today, that I think this case presents a compelling reason to ignore the guidelines. Now, I don't want to load up the term ignore too much, because I don't think that's really what we're doing. I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention that ERD in 27th, it's February 18th, as well as the other factors that I think call for that sort of solution by the court. Now, if we look on the second page, R&O charge, if you will, because of his guidelines, Arnold's a 2-year Class G, he scores 5 to 46 on that. So that gives a little bit of understanding, at least from my perspective, of what would normally not be considered quote unquote serious or severe felonies have dire consequences when you've reached a certain level on your prior record variables. For all of those reasons, Your Honor, I would encourage the court to craft a sentence that does not unduly extend his stay in prison on the Lake County case. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Parks, did you have any amendments, corrections, or objections to make to the content of the report?
No, Your Honor.
Allocution on behalf of the people, then, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. The thing that sticks out the most to me with this is that the defendant was traveling up to 85 miles an hour, driving on the wrong side of the road around blind curves while there was an infant in it. That's very disturbing to the people. And I heard most of what Mr. Harrison said. Yes, the defendant has high guidelines because of his priors, and this isn't his first plea and elude. This is extremely dangerous behavior that the defendant was found guilty of. I'd recommend a sentence of 90 months.
Thank you. Mr. Demambro, you have the right to make a statement if you choose to do so. I do recognize that you pled not guilty and were convicted at a trial. Is there anything you wish to say at this time, sir?
Yeah, I'm quite confused, as I have been this whole time. And it's hard for me, Your Honor. I'm trying to take your position as well as everybody else's, and I understand that there was a verdict reached, and I'm trying to be respectful to everybody because I understand the process and I understand what's happened, and everybody has a job to do. I totally understand that. But what bothers me, okay, if I were one of them jurors that made that decision that day, I would want to know everything regarding the case. Okay, I would want to know everything. And if them jurors were aware of everything regarding this case, that verdict would not have been reached because that officer is lying over and over. And I don't have to prove that. He's done it himself by his own testimony, and it was all hid from the jurors. And it's just hard for me to humbly sit here and, I'm so mentally exhausted, Your Honor, that I want this to be over with, but it's hard for me to just bite the bullet and just take something when I know it's not true. And I mean, I can say that wholeheartedly. If you look at my past, my record, I haven't done, when I've been in trouble, yes, I've tried to get a good plea, but I've never taken it to this extreme. This is, Your Honor, I was offered a misdemeanor on this case, and I didn't take it. That should tell you my sincerity in what I'm trying to tell you. And I don't know what else to say. I just, if there's any way, like I said, I understand you all have a job to do. I'm already in my classes here. I'm already signed up for Vocational Village. I'm at a facility here that has several different vocational trades that they teach. I'm signed up for the tree trimming job. That is the only one that guarantees you a job when you're released, but it's in the Wayne County. But I don't care. I want away from that area anyway. So, but the point of it is, Your Honor, I'm in ASAT, which it's approximately 6 months, and then I go into the vocational trade sometime soon. My classes are all started, and this is going to throw a big wrench. I don't know. I feel like I'm asking too much, but then Your Honor, you've been doing it. You know that officer's lying. You can't tell me you don't. I mean, I don't know if you've watched his other testimony, but listen and read. I mean, you guys have all been doing this the guy is lying. It's not that he's a rookie, Your Honor. He is lying. It's not that he's just inexperienced. He's experienced in lying to you. And I mean, I feel like he's been, because he had a whole different attitude in this courtroom than he did in Lake. In Lake, he thought it was funny. He laughed as he lied, smirked, and it was like intentional. But up here, he tried to act more professional and more, I feel because of the difference in the courtroom. I believe he, I don't know. I can sit and, come up with all the reasons, but I know personally that the man's not telling the truth. I don't know what else to say. I can't tell you, hey, I did this when it's not true. I didn't do it. And I don't, and it's hard for me. And I mean, if I just want it to be over with, if there's any way that we can give me what I have and just be over with, I'll take it as, I'm going to try, no matter what you do today, Your Honor, I'm going to try to learn from this so that I can change my life and stop being the person I was yesterday, the day before, and be a new me and get out and be successful, because I'm not a stupid person and I'm not what my PSI says. I am capable of better things than this. And it's embarrassing for me to be sitting here in front of you, even though the circumstances and everything, it's embarrassing, and it bothers me tremendously, because I know I was raised better than what what these PSI says, what the I want to live, Your Honor. I've done, I can't even tell you, over 15 years, somewhere in there, ever since I've been about 24, as this has been my life, and I can't seem to shake it. Please have mercy on the situation and understand it. I'm being sincere. I'm not up here trying to pull your chain. You're a very smart man. I can tell it, and I can tell you're very, very good at what you do. Take everything into consideration, please, Your Honor. I already have, everything in here is set for your ERD, which is 2/20, I think, of 27, and everything's already started. Please take that into consideration. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you. Before the court this morning is a 42-year-old man who has had a long history with controlled substances for about 25, 26 years. He has mixed failures and successes at rehab over the last, in and out of rehab programs for the last 25 years. The defendant's prior criminal history is impressive in a negative way. He started out with some juvenile issues back in '96. Looks like he got probation. He was off for about a year before he picked up his first set of charges as an adult. But that one was dismissed, so then he made it a couple of years and he picked up another case. Now in case 22 of 31, back in 2001, the defendant absconded from probation in the midst of it, had probation violations, numerous violations, and numerous warrants. In fact, he only made it about 6 months between the date of sentence and the next case that he picked up back in 2001. In fact, he had multiple convictions. It's not merely that he had probation violations, but he had probation violations that resulted in convictions. He had only within a couple more months did he pick up number 4 of 31. I'm sorry, that one. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. That one was dismissed, so I disregard that. But he picked up number 5 of 31 while on probation. Number 6 of 31 while on probation. In fact, it's only 7 days after the one prior. It was like He made it about 6 months before he picked up yet another violation of that same probation when he picked up 7 of 31. And then he did the same thing when he picked up 8 of 31, and that was all on probation. He made it a couple months before he picked up 9 of 31. And when I say a couple, I mean literally about 2 months and 1 week before he picked up the next one while on probation. Number 10 of 31 occurred while on probation. In fact, that occurred only 11 days after 9 of 31. He was doing terrible on probation. In fact, then he picked up 11 of 31. Actually, while on probation and while on bond for the other cases. 12 of 31 occurred 2 months after number 11, and he was still on probation. So, yeah, it's like the 9th case while he was on probation for number 2 of 31. Then it continues. 13 of 41. It looks like he had just been off of probation, but only for about a month. 5 months. 14 of 21 came only about a month after 13. Then he made it about 2 weeks before he picked up 15 of 31. Then at number 16, he was on bond, violated bond, picked up another case. Number 7 of 31, he was still on bond for number 15 of 31. So we're starting to see that he's violating bond. I don't know if he's ever completed probation successfully, but multiple probation violations. 18 of 31 occurred while on bond. 19 of 31 occurred while still on bond. It was only a month after 18 of 31. 20 of 31 occurred while he was on parole. Then it looks like he had a sentence. Looks like 2 months later after being sentenced. I don't know, this must have occurred. All right, so you got 16 days in jail. And then after he got off of that, he had another violation. 21 and 22 occurred while on parole. 23 occurred while on parole. Between 23 and 24, he did make it about 3 years, but sure enough, we're getting back to failing to, this is a flee and elude. So I've got repeated flee and eludes, R&Os, failing to comply with bond, failing to comply with probation, failing to comply with parole. So for number 24 of 31, which had that flee and elude and R&O and reckless driving, he out of Osceola County, he got 14 months to 2 years. So a prison sentence didn't help that. Number 25 of 31, sure enough, we got another reckless driving and then a flee and elude. That occurred while on bond. Number 26 of 31, we have another R&O, and that's only about like 9 months after being off of probation or parole from the previous file. 27 of 31 occurred while on parole, and that one was resolved in April 12th, 2024. He made it 7 months before picking up this case in Lake County, not Osceola County, but Lake County and Wexford County, the ones that we're here for today. Now, before I talk, what's that?
28 is the Lake County convictions, not.
Yeah. It's Lake County. I thought you said Osceola. I thought you said Osceola earlier, so I'm sorry. But
you may have that.
Yeah.
Maybe why I got sidetracked.
then, while these cases were pending, what happened to 31 of 31? Did that get dismissed?
Yes, sir. It's been dismissed.
All right, so I'll disregard that.
The next 2 files, 30 and 51.
Now, as to the officer, Officer Killingbeck, or this is conservation officer, not the trooper, Killingbeck. It's one of the first times I'd ever seen him in the court, and he did a pretty good job providing testimony. But I'll say, no matter what, his testimony was supported by the person, the woman, he left in the car with the kid, and his ID was in the car. So his attempts to try to tell me today that the officer was lying, even if I consider the officer not telling the truth, which I don't, the girl was in the car with the child and his ID. But he tends to run away. He tends to abscond. He tends to flee and elude. He tends to resist arrest.
She's admitted it wasn't me.
Stop talking. Do not talk again. You had your opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And we have 2 jury trials, which means 24 independent people who I cannot challenge and will not challenge have all found you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So there is no confusion for this court. You fled and eluded police officers, something that, by the way, you have a tendency to do.
Yeah.
You resisted arrest. You resisted arrest, which is something you have a tendency to do. You violated parole. Well, you violate parole almost all the time. You violate probation and bond in almost every single one of your convictions, which I think were approximately 25 convictions over the last 25 years. You're in and out of jail, on and off of probation, on and off of bond, on and off of parole, in and out of prison, constantly, and a jury conviction. So I don't think there's any part of your story that's true. And I can follow this route. Snookum Road down in Lake County, you take a left, start heading down toward Wexford County. You cross 33 Road, 48.5 Road, and this intersection.
I didn't do none of that. I didn't do none of that. Give me the max. I'm done. Give me the max. I don't care. Give me the max. I will prove it to this whole courtroom. Dean Demambro didn't do this. And you all know it. You're all lying. You're all in on it. Every one of you, Judge, you're full of crap. And you know it. You sat there and watched that man lie.
I would encourage the court to just.
Eat shit. You're all bags of shit.
Mr. Harrison, I appreciate you trying to help your client. I really do. But you can't help that.
He ended.
Okay.
I
No, it's okay, Mr. Harrison. I know what you're going to say. You're trying your best. You can't fix that. That's okay. I'm not angry at you, Mr. Harrison. I'm not upset. You're doing your best you can. I hadn't even gotten to the sentence. And I can tell you it was less than when I came into it. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. The defendant has a right to be present in the courtroom, and I don't feel comfortable sentencing the defendant without him being present. So we will adjourn sentencing. This court will issue a writ to have him physically brought to the courtroom. The court will also add to this a contempt of court charge and find it he is left. Court will hereby sentences the defendant to 90 days. That 90 days, because he's currently serving in the prison, will run consecutive to whatever sentence he is currently serving. And then we will bring them in here for sentencing. I like how I went from being a very smart great judge to being a lying, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember whatever he said.
The irony notwithstanding, I think it's pretty clear that there might be some mental health issue there as well.
I don't know if I can count stupidity as mental health. We are adjourned.